Imagine they just find their breakthrough one more time, but it's not going to be easy. Leaning Tower not going to give them any sort of brevity, keep making sure they're not going to find those quick picks that we saw them getting early on, especially with that decav or bow, just able to snipe them out. The pencil keeping them back, forcing them, even with their cooler online, they just cannot push up at all. Popping their specials, the strikes come, or rather the chumps come out, the Zook comes out, only able to find one pick, unfortunately, as we see them just trying to fight, able to get a quick zone flip, giving them a nice penalty, stopping them from taking that lead, which is going to be very big for drinking value as they can find their way through mid, just forcing their way one by one after the others. We see them going through, but Leaning Tower not making it easy on them at all, as we see the Jet come out, able to get a quick couple of picks before and giving them that lead, or control of the zone back, rather.
That being said, though, both teams have a very equal penalty point value here. It's now going to have to start depending on which team can hold the zone for longer, which team can lock out each other in their spawn, as we are seeing Leaning Tower of Gert trying their best to hold drinking value in their spawn, as there is actually 2 down on Leaning Tower, though. This could be a little bit dicey for the team in orange. That being said, though, their penalty points are almost out. That being said, on the other hand, drinking value are starting to make their way out of elbow, and now the zone is still being held, and there is that lead swap by Leaning Tower of Gert, allowing them to take a 1-point lead against drinking value here. They need to take this zone back fast here, and this Decapitator is trying to brush away any more orange players, but I think they're alone. Even with that big bubbler, they're going to be going down to that rapid blaster on the side of Leaning Tower of Gert here. They're holding that 1-point differential here, as there soon will be around 2 minutes left in this match.
Yeah, that big 1-point flip is all the world's difference right there. As we see the drinking value going in, trying to get in, able to finally get control of the zone, but it's not going to be easy. They still have to deal with that Pen, who is going to get another quick pick before repositioning back to their spawn, giving them a lot more safety as we see them going through one more time, hitting them with another penalty, blocking them out. We see the Zookas out We see the jet, all of it pushing them back, able to get a lot of picks right there. I believe I saw 3 go down at once. Just leaning tower, able to get such an aggressive spot. We see them just playing right into their plat, essentially just forcing them all the way to spawn, not giving them any room to breathe.
Yeah, and there's that lockout that I think I was talking about earlier here, and now leading Tower of Grid is just remaining to at least occupy elbow here. They're almost out of their points here. They're entering single digits. There is that headed down. I think they're trying to get rid of this shot. The shot's going down too. It's only Kuyoshi, and no! That is not a flip for drinking value, as leading Tower of Gert will knock out this Robo Ramen Zones match, allowing them to take game 1 of the set.
What a play from both teams. I was a little bit afraid for leaning tower when I saw how strong drinking value opened up, but I think maybe they had some opening gambit or something going on. You know, they just had such a start and it felt like they lost all their ability or something later on. But you know, this is only game 1 of their play all 3, I believe, so they have time to bring it back either way, since this is just groups, of course. But that was such a great round to start off with. Like, we just really got into it. There was no time for no introduction, no nothing. We just got right into the action, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, you know, who needs words when actions speak louder? You see some really interesting. Well, I think both teams are running relatively rudimentary comps, but I think we saw stuff like the Chump Stringer. We saw stuff like Rapid Blaster Deco that we haven't really seen in a while, I think, within the scene. So it's really nice to see, I guess, like, to see the back. I think what was it, Drinking Value, that was running double backline with the Headed as well as the Stringer. Meanwhile, leading Tower of Gert, like, their counter pushes were really interesting because, of course, you have things like that started, like, say, Ultra Stamp or the Trizuka, but then you also have accompanying it that Inkjet from the Rapid Blaster. So it's really interesting to see.
Yeah, you know, I as much as a metal staple as it is, I think that pencil is so amazing for that comp there because of the way that they're playing. You know, a lot of pencil players, they're like, oh, I'm just gonna paint for special and everything. No, they are fighting and they're taking like their other teammates to get so much value out of their chip damage.
Definitely so here. When the enemy team is just whittled down, it allows those skirmishing weapons like the Wiper as well as the Carbon to just pop off immensely here. Already that Rapid Blaster is going down as we enter game 2. This is Tower on Museum. We're entering Spinner City already. So there's already 2 down on Drinking Value here. It's right now a huge skirmish in mid, just to determine if, just so at least I think that's leading Tower of Gert. That way they can have a little bit more lenience here, but players are just being traded off left and right here. It's no necessary numbers advantage. That being said, I lied. There's 3 members down on Drinking Value here. I think leading Tower of Gert is poised to start pushing, especially since a lot of the members of Drinking Value are still on their plat.
Yeah, no, like the second you said that, instantly I saw 3-4 go down. I was like, oh my gosh, that is the absolute best thing you can see in that position, able to finally get a strong push, and we see them making it through, breaking through that first checkpoint. Everyone is up on the plat, just taking names left and right, getting their names taken, unfortunately. But with that pencil out, just getting so many points on this tower, getting their cooler up, everybody's able to regroup and just keep on pushing through the hammer, breaking that little suction, just keep on fighting and giving so much aggressive pressure up here as we see them just going one after the other, trading left and right. But trades are not what you want to see here if you're Drinking Value, because the more you're trading, the more points they're able to get online, and we see them just keep coming in one after the other, able to get a couple members out, but Drinking Value is not going to be able to get through there yet. Still just keeping up so much aggression that they're seeing, like, so much power. I'm seeing punches get thrown left and right by all of these members as we see them just rotating their specials one after the other, getting picks one after the other from both sides here.
That being said, though, leading Tower of Gert is starting to dwindle in their numbers. It's just this Wiper as well as I think the Rapid Blaster Def. And now that Wiper is immediately going down thanks to the range from that Stamper. It's only that Rapid, I think, as well as the Carbon left on the scene, but it's just allowing leading Tower of Gert to get right back into the fight here. And I think all members are poised on this top spinner, ready to take back this tower. The Soda has come out from Starfish. At least that Carbon will be respawning. Trunks is stamping it with that hammer. That being said, it's pretty dicey right now. I think Drinking Value is slowly starting to find their footing, starting to push leading Tower of Gert right back into mid, but leading Tower still has a lot of fight left into them. They're taking these positions that Drinking Value just cannot expect. You see how deep that Wiper is? It is a wild goose chase out here.
Speaking of wild goose chase, we saw them go just absolutely hunting them down, making sure that they were not going to be allowed to survive in that amount of downtime. Just is what is allowing Leaning Tower to just keep on running in one after the other. You see them getting their drinks up, getting them quick, and then just coming back one after the other, constantly jumping back in. So we see them, unfortunately, drinking value does go 2 down, but still not having enough people to just keep this push alive. We're just seeing so much pressure exhibited by Leaning Tower as they just keep on running down names one after the other, trying to find that wipe that they had earlier to get on the ground again. Drinking value able to get their cooler up and push it in. The hammer able to find a quick triple into the wipe as we see them getting finally on this third check, trying to get it through fast. Everybody standing on that tower, pushing it all the way down into another KO victory there for Leaning Tower, taking game 2.
It may be play all 3, but that was a game end for the books, I'd say. That wiper went nuts at the end, getting 2 of those picks with the stamp, and then landing that throw just to at least clear the board for any drinking value player, just allowing them to cruise straight into knockout range. We still have one more map left in this set, of course, since it's play all 3. That's going to be right back to zones on Umami Ruins, completing the zone sandwich.
Yeah, I cannot wait to see what we get from both these teams here. And something I've kind of noticed about these map modes so far is that all of these map modes kind of play heavily into that snowball aspect that we do see with a lot of these maps. Museum kind of being like the least of them all, but that is something I think that is going to play a major factor, because like we saw in this museum game, Leaning Tower just went in and they did not back off whatsoever. They didn't get any time to rest, and that was on a less snowbally map compared to Umami, so that can be very interesting to see which team is able to get their ball rolling first here.
I think one thing that Leaning Tower of Gert did really well within that tower control match is just ensuring that, of course, their feet were constantly on the gas pedal. They were just constantly ensuring that the tower was within drinking values territory, not allowing them to just get a push started, and it just allowed them to keep that snowball rolling, allowing that momentum to still be in their favor here. They're ensuring that the jumps were secure, allowing those fallen players to return back into the fight that way. Of course, that tower would not soar back into mid. I don't think it ever went into mid as soon as Leaning Tower of Gert got to, I think, the second checkpoint.
No, but I don't think it did either. And there were so many times, there's so many hills, so many bumps on that uphill climb that they're trying to just get the snowball going and everything that drinking value was giving them. And unfortunately, it just wasn't enough. They weren't able to find it. And I think if drinking value is able to find just that last little push there, we could have seen a very different game happen right there.
We could have seen something different, perhaps evening the score, but we're now going into game 3. Once again, the comps are dead similar to the past 2 games. Of course, drinking values still have a lot of explosive pressure going. We saw what they can do in game 1 on zones, and perhaps zones could be what they play in the best, but we'll just have to see on Umami. Already this shot is trying to gun down that wiper, but the wiper will be able to secure the pick onto the shot. The carbon is down as well. Leaning Tower of Gert will take that first cap, and of course the first cap never really matters unless you can get the hold. Here comes the chump scattered all across Gert's side of the map, and now Leaning Tower is starting to up the ante with that ultra stamp, allowing them to take the control, flushing the rest of drinking value back towards their side of the map. And now they're hunting down that toothbrush, not allowing them to charge any more slashes. And now I think they're starting to apply pressure onto that choke point. Oh, they managed to get a pick onto the shot before going down. I don't think that's any cooler for Leaning Tower, actually.
Yeah, that's a very big pick there, because they do not have cooler for a little bit of a minute as we see them going in, able to get the nice zone flip, stopping them right out before getting under that 60. Just a big number that you always want to get through. As they go up, able to keep this pressure alive as we see them just pushing their specials through, getting these picks, holding as long as they can. But Leaning Tower not going to make it the easy. The pencil going in, able to flip that zone over the poor decap trying to do all they can to hold the zone up for as long as possible, able to hold it and get out, giving their team a lot more time to regroup and get these specials online, especially these chumps that we've seen them take advantage of so much earlier. But not going to be the easiest thing to do when you have to deal with the pencil, you have to deal with carbon, you're dealing with the torpedoes from this wiper, and they are just constantly giving you so much pressure. As we see the carbon going in, able to find 2, looking to find a third, not able to find it, but the wiper able to get it for them. As we see them take an extremely aggressive hold, keeping them in their spawn, similar to how we saw them do on Robin. or Ramen rather, with only 30 points remaining, and the Zuka is online. It is going to be a struggle for drinking value to break through, especially with this cooler alive also.
Yeah,
This
it,
is
it,
this
it,
is
it's
insane. Yes, yes.
yeah. No worries, as leading Tower of Gerd is within the single digits here. It'll take a miracle for drinking value to at least flip this, but with one zone already capped and with Cool, Yoshi, and Soda Chip, the miracle has happened. The zone has been flipped. 67 penalty points going to leading Tower of Gerd. Drinking value is not going down without a fight, canceling Rodin's Inkjet with some anti-air charge slashes. That being said, though, there's 3 members down on drinking value here. Already their numbers are dwindling. It's only that shot left, and with it being a 2v1 here, Lafiche as well as I think Trunks are starting to move right back up to drinking value spawn. Here comes that Zuka once again applying more pressure onto drinking value. This is not where you want to be, right back up in your spawn, as long as you can maybe get the rest of leading Tower of Gert right back into middle. At least try to get some space for yourself. There's 2 members down of leading Tower of Gert. Soda Chip is heralding this push. Zone is once again in neutral. One zone is blue. They need to get that second one in order to get the flip. Will they be able to do it, especially without that Hedit? We'll just have to see. Once again, taking out that carbon. Soda Trip is trying to do it, but there's 2 members down on drinking value here. I think their attempt was futile, as leading Tower will be right back in control, and I think right back into wanting for another rampage, as Trunks will be able to take out 2, make it 3, make it a wipeout for leading Tower of Gert, and there is the knockout. This played eerily similar to that Robo Ramen match, don't you think?
Oh no, this most certainly did. If I'm ever in Nintendo Q, I'm making sure this is not zones only or anything, because I am afraid of this team if they're fighting in zones.
Oh boy.
There's so much pressure, so much holding power. It's like, and the perfect mix of aggression all in from this team right here. I'm just utterly impressed with what they bring to the table. But oh, oh my, I cannot believe.
You know, they just left us in the dust. They were moving, like both teams were moving really quickly. It wasn't just leading Tower of Gert. We saw what drinking value was doing and still did within those zones matches here. But I think leading Tower of Gert was just a little bit faster and a lot more aggressive and sporadic, just allowing them to remain unpredictable, not allowing drinking value to just get any inches on them, no matter if it was trying to retake zone or trying to get them off of tower.
Yeah, no, like drinking value, I think they're extremely strong. And this is groups, of course, sometimes they could be like maybe our C3, and then this is the like maybe a C12 or something. I haven't looked, I'm not being specific, but for a team that did unfortunately lose 3-0, they played extremely well all of these games. And none of them were just like a fat sweep like that. They made sure to pull in this tug of war match. They didn't just give them the flag.
Didn't entirely here. Even if it was 3-0, they put up a very valiant fight within groups. Round 2 here. Man, if this was round 2, this was only round 2, what could possibly be in store for us round 3?
I think round 3 is gonna be our actual. We're gonna see whoever wins bracket in round 3. They're gonna make a surprising appearance. I'm calling my parlay now. I got $20 on it. If that
$20?
happens, yeah, I got $20 for my parlay.
Insane.
I believe Green's gonna pay up for it, so I'm pretty excited about that. It's like a
We
$5 payout, so I'm hitting big tonight.
insane,
I might afford a
insane.
Switch 2 with this one.
We will be getting earnings, but we'll have to see after a short break. So don't go anywhere. Tristrike Tuesdays will be back shortly. And I say shortly, I'm not lying, as we are now back with Tristrike Tuesdays, number 35. I'm Frostix, my co-caster. Ideas is on mic with me, and we're now into groups round 3. This decides the bracket, and we're seeing Oh Man versus Axolotl's Revenge.
Uh, I think you might have misread that. I think I'm seeing OGO man, but my eyes aren't any better than yours, so I definitely could be misreading it too. But I am already excited to get into this match. Going into B in rather Barnacle and Dime zones here on Barnacle and Dime zones. Frost, let me ask you a quick question.
Yeah, what's up?
Don't you think this map would be a lot better if all they did was add a pole?
Yeah,
Asking.
the rectangular prism that is of course in mid is okay, but it is not friendly to cheese, which is exactly why it needs a
Exactly.
pole.
Yeah, like I look at a map like, let's say, just for instance, Wahoo World.
Oh
That
yeah,
pole right there,
of
chef's
course.
kiss. Best part about it. I love the
Lately,
Wahoo World pole, but
some of
Barnacle and Dimes little squares are just not it.
yeah, definitely. So it's maybe like outside of the bid for a bit. I think it could maybe be a little bit faulty when it comes to, I guess, like those GG specials, like of course your reef sliders, your tri-strikes, Booyah Bomb with enough special power up. But what I think I see a lot of teams basically do is that as soon as they get that control, the way they hold zone is by just fighting it down in the courts. They immediately take plat. It's very similar to the past two zones maps that we saw, like Robo Ramen and Umami. So we'll just have to see what Oh Man and Axolotl's Revenge have in store for us. So is that okay? That's Crack On Roller on the side of Axolotl. Crack On Roller, that is Tri-Slosher, that is Junior on the side of Axolotl's Revenge. Meanwhile, we're seeing interesting picks like Octobrush and Dynamo Roller on the side of Oh Man.
And speaking of oh man, going 2 down, almost about to make it 3, but Axolotl's Revenge able to find that third one, forcing them to back up and be a little bit more defensive here. As we see them going into already in the starting match, getting that bubble up, getting their cooler online, just keeping them back out, not going to let them get in for free like that. As Axolotl's Revenge keeps this hold early on, unfortunately going 2 down, the Brush able to find a quick pick, wanting to find a third, unable to find it. The Zip does come out, trying to get them to back up and be a little bit more defensive. The Jet is out, not going to let them do anything for free. The Zip going down as we see, oh man, pushing back up. The Crab is out, the cooler is online, but unfortunately, they're just not able to find that zone flip right there, unfortunately losing their roller in the process, as we see them just holding, able to not even get the quick little flip. I thought they had it. They're able to find the quick flip, but the Junior is still behind in their bubble, playing with their bombs and everything. Not going to give them the freest points ever, just giving them that nice little penalty right there. But already both these teams being extremely explosive to start with. Bree able to find a quick double as they go back into the zone, wanting to get a lot more control here.
Oh, but it's just been constant trades, constant numbers disadvantage, and finally Axolotl's Revenge appear to have their footing here, Ku being able to take out Curse, but before going down in another trade that's 2 members down on Oh Man here, allowing Axolotl's Revenge to stay within that control here. They're a little bit wary of trying to approach Plat because of Lagoon's Brush that was just very deadly, going down to that surprise bomb. That's 2 members down on Oh Man, as well as Axolotl's Revenge here. I think they're starting to now rally their forces here, but that bubble is going to be testy, blocking those Zuka shots for Bree, potentially blocking their entryway as well here, just being a little bit more of a nuisance as Axolotl's Revenge is almost close to knockout. Oh Man needs to start moving as they're entering this panic mode. Zone is in neutral. This Crab is trying to keep everything under damage control, but with the amount of paint Axolotl's Revenge have, they will take game 1 in another knockout.
Right. And so far, I think I've noticed something so far. I don't know if you have, but I think all of our matches so far have been KOs, actually. I don't think
Yep.
we've seen a single game go to tie. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to see how long that KO train can keep running. That was an extremely well played game from both these teams here. Unfortunately, Elgato Man was, as you said, panicking just a little bit more than you would like, unable to get that last zone flip they needed to give them another penalty and keep them in the game just a little bit longer. That Crab doing everything they could it just wasn't meant to be, unfortunately. Getting back into tower control, Undertow.
Oh man,
Um,
we
no,
see
I'm not
Undertow.
sure. It might not have been last week, but it was the last time I was here. I remember the Undertow Tower game was just so, in quite literally the term, explosive. There were so many bombs, there were so many sliders, there was missiles, everything was blowing up left and right, and it was one of the most enjoyable games I've ever had the pleasure to commentate, and I'm hoping to see something like that again, especially with how we saw these bombs last game playing out. I think it's entirely possible we can see a recreation of it. Maybe not with the slider, but
I think what we saw, I think specifically from Axel's Revenge last time in Zones, I think this translates surprisingly really well into Tower. Of course, that Junior has that big bubbler, which will allow them to just cruise easily between checkpoints. But they don't just have that. They were sporting crack on rollers of all things, so they also have some more tower staying power at their hands. Meanwhile, Ogado Man, they still have that crab that'll be really useful, just being propped up on the verticality that Undertow has. And we're going into game two. I completely neglected this last time around, but Axolotl's Revenge, I think, is. Are they running? No, they're not running double cooler because this is the Tri-Slosher with Inkjet.
yeah, I thought that as well when I was just getting into it, because I see Tri Slusher, I'm like, oh, that's the cooler try, right? Surely it is. No, they're not running double cooler. That's a little bit niche. And getting into it already, we're seeing both these teams go 2 members down. The Crab trying to find another one, able to find it actually, not losing there. But Axolotl's Revenge able to take that first check, breaking through it. That's a milestone right there, especially on a map like this. Just getting an early check can be all the game changer you need. Seeing the jet come out, seeing the bombs, they're trying to do everything they can in their power to force them back. Not going to give them the opportunity to truly thrive here. Keeping them so far back, not going to let this tower push up at all, as we're seeing both these members just fighting the Zuka, coming out, forcing them to back off, playing around their bubble once again, trying to find it, but just unable to do so, as both these teams are constantly left fighting between one another.
Yeah, the fight is definitely on here, ideas. That being said, Axolotl's Revenge are able to at least get to checkpoint 2. That's a lot more points on the board for them. Milotic is just keeping this paint output as well as this AoE damage that Axolotl's Revenge has on lock here. They're moving past that second checkpoint. Jinx is on the flank. The Kraken has been unleashed here. This may prove dicey if Ogado Man doesn't heed the warnings here. Jinx will not be able to get any picks with the Kraken actually being punished for that, though. I may have glazed this Kraken way too hard as Axol's Revenger now starting to trickle right back into mid. Ogado Man is now trying to take back that space that was lost. Curse is moving in. They're going to be going down to Milotic here. That is no soda for Oh God, Oh Man. Actually, this may prove dicey as already 2 members of Oh God, Oh Man are going down. Milotic being able to take, I think, back-to-back doubles with this Tri-Slosher here. Do not underestimate a bucket or a blaster on a map with as much ledges as this, ideas.
Oh, do not underestimate the bucket. Do not underestimate this jet, right? Never mind. Let me stop talking. Let me not even gas up. The jet, unfortunately, going down to that brush right there, but still doing a lot. Able to get them all the way to this third check and clear it out just about. Able to keep it going just a little bit longer. We're seeing them trying to get these last few points on the board, but oh God, oh man, not going to make it easy. Able to clear them out one after the other. Not going to give them the opportunity to KO here as we see them regroup in the mid, getting this cooler online. But unfortunately, there is still that member behind them trying to find a sneaky little shark. We seeing the Zuka come out trying to get a quick little pick, able to clear out that shark over there as we see them push into and start taking the game back into the seated position, stepping on the gas of themselves here. Getting into this first check though, with able to break through it pretty easily, not contested too heavily, as we're seeing the Dynamo unfortunately running out of ink at the worst moment against this junior and going down. You hate to see it, as we see another member of Ogado Man go down on the tower, followed by their shot, unfortunately getting 2v1 ganged up on, forcing them to retreat and giving Axolotl's Revenge the chance to take back the game once more, putting them on the hot seat.
They really need to take back the game, though, considering their insane lead on Ogado Man here. It's pretty much forcing Ogado Man basically to get that knockout. They need to win in order to win here, and I think the odds maybe a little bit stacked against them, but don't count them out just yet here. I think we see this Junior poised on the tower. The bubble has been popped. That being said, they're going down. Curse is moving in with this Dynamo, being able to pick up a double for Oh God, Oh Man. That'll dwindle down the numbers in their favor. And here comes the Zuka as well, trying to clear up the mid area of Undertow here. I think they're trying to at least know where that roller is, where maybe the bucket is as well. Jinx is striking, being able to take out 2 members of Oh God, Oh Man, taking back that space just as fast as they lost it, putting them back into the driver's seat, cruising back to around the first checkpoint area. It's still, the tower is still in their command. I don't think they're intending to let it go anytime soon.
Oh no, they don't want to give it up at all. That roller putting in absolute work there, able to find a quick double, giving them another last second chance with 30 seconds on board. This game can very well go into overtime. Able to get their cooler online. The Dynamo unfortunately going down, getting to that try, once again showing why you cannot play with try and why you need to show it utmost respect as we see them clearing out one more time. The Zuka was out, the Zip was out. Unfortunately, Zip is going down. The crowd, the only one left, fighting this Jet, fighting this roller. Both of them trying to get this last little pick, able to find it with only 5 seconds left, and no one on the tower for Ogado Man. It doesn't look like we're going to see any overtime, but the Kraken is out into overtime, able to find the last second pick and giving Axolotl's Revenge the Game 2 victory.
That was once again a very oppressive set by Axolotl's Revenge. We're not seeing the knockout this time around, but it was deadly close to it here. And it's like I said earlier, that comp that they were running in zones, I think translates very effectively into tower control. Not only does Milotic's Tri-Slosher play really well on a map like Undertow with the amount of elevation and ledges that it has, but it also just generally plays really well within tower control as a mode here. I think just AoE weapons kind of, I don't want to say reign supreme, but they're really damn good on it.
Oh no, they are most certainly like insanely good. And I think something that I've kind of noticed is that Axolotl's Revenge seems to like never truly go down. It seems like they're always alive, they're always at mid or something. I just don't know what it is. And then it clicked in my brain. It's probably beacons. It's probably the ability to instantly go back in.
Kraken roller!
Anywhere they were like, yeah, that Kraken roller is not just a roller. They're not just playing like a carbon. They're supporting their team. They're popping their beacons, giving them the chance to reposition. And I didn't even realize it until the match was basically, I was like, why are they just in so far? Why are they constantly in?
Yeah.
Oh my God, that makes perfect. Oh my God, that makes perfect sense. Yeah.
I understand it now. And then surely, if Ogado Man is watching the stream, you definitely need to look out for beacons, because I think as we go into Crableg Capital, of course, Axolotl's Revenge was very, very devastating on zones. So it'll just depend on how they can potentially break through that barrier that Axolotl's Revenge establishes as soon as they get a hold of that zone.
Yeah, you got to make sure you open up your map, check for the beacons. It's something I always forget to do. So that's like, this is my one piece of advice that's actually real. This is the only time I'm gonna give good advice. Always check your beacons when fighting a beacon weapon, because you just never know how much power they can have until you just forget to start checking for those beacons. You just let them stay up, and next thing you know, there's a Sharking Carbon behind you. You're somehow getting flanked by a Clash Blaster. It doesn't make any sense. This weapon doesn't paint. How did it get behind me? It was the beacons. And getting into it here, I'm noticing a little bit of a comp change from both these teams here. Do my eyes deceive me, or is that the E-Leader? Is that the E-Leader in the Dually Squelchers from both these teams bringing out weapons I was not prepared to see? Oh God, oh man, able to get a quick zone already. Unfortunately, their Dynamo is going to go down. Not able to get a nice pick that they were looking for there. The try, putting in work, once again showing why you cannot try with Tri-Slosher, as they're able to clean up the zone and getting a couple members of Ogado Man down, forcing them on the defensive end here. The leader keeping up this aggressive spot as they just hold them. The Zip going behind, unfortunately not able to find one there. Just going in and still pressuring them around, forcing them out, as we see Ogado Man once again taking the zone back for themselves. The Zuka is out, unfortunately not going to find one before going down, with Axolotl's Revenge able to kind of clean house as we see them get their first big push here, already taking up this aggressive spot by the Junior. Oh.
Yeah, exactly. I think I think one thing I do have to note about that E-Leader switch on Axelal's Revenge, I think Krabla Capital is, I think, a map that is very friendly towards E-Leaders. I think the sight lines are very open, which just allows E-Leader to just have that range it needs to go on. Meanwhile, we see Milotic and Jinx just clean up the members of Oh God, Oh Man here, camping that jump for the Zipcaster as well, ensuring that there are no witnesses here, and they're going right back to camping those ledges here. Once again, don't try with try here, and we're seeing Oh God, Oh Man being locked out just like they were on Barnacle and Dime here. As we're entering single digits here, I'm not sure if the amount of paint that Oh God, Oh Man has is enough to stop the storm that is Axolotl's Revenge here, as they will take the set 3-0.
That was something right there. Oh, just like I wasn't prepared for how much pressure I was gonna be seeing, how much holding I'd see. I wasn't ready. I think I should have been. I wasn't aware of their game.
I was I was not aware of their ability to be that flexible either here. I think I almost want to say that outside of, I guess, that whole midline frontline comp that was that Tri-Slosher, as well as I think the some type of shot here, they were running they're running a lot of new interesting weapons here. They dropped the Junior for the end parry splat dualies, and we saw them switch to E-Leader as well, of course, being the highlight, at least for us in the match here.
Oh no, that was
Yeah.
definitely, it's definitely always enjoyable to have the leader POV because you get to see everything that's going on in the moment they start hitting those shots. You hear that crit sound and everything, and it's just like it's like pure ecstasy to the ears, and you just get to have such an enjoyable experience watching it. But fighting it's terrible. It's the worst thing in the game. But it's just such a fun thing to experience as someone who's watching the game and not having to deal with the oppression that this weapon can provide. And we saw how oppressive they were with it right there. I wasn't ready for the roller player of all people to be switching to leader. It truly caught me off guard.
Jack, you love to see the jacks of all trades be masters of all. You love to see the flex
Oh no,
players flexing.
you definitely do. And I don't know, maybe it's just the people I've met, but for some reason I've always seen that these backline players, you're talking your chargers, your e-leaders, your hydras, even all of them for some reason just have that one gremlin weapon that they can play so perfectly. And I honestly believe with how that leader played, that's what we saw just now. That before it was the gremlin energy roller coming out into the this is what I like to do leader.
Maybe Gremlin Energy carries across weapons, because it's like you said, dealing with a leader feels like it's just it costs you an arm and a leg sometimes. You have to constantly watch out whether or not your sightlines are being watched here, and you like, if you're trying to contest them, you need to make sure that you're not overextending, and it's a lot of things to watch out for. And on top of all of that, I guess in the case of Axolot's Revenge, they're running that V leader, so that of course has ink mines to watch out for, not to mention that wave breaker that can just trip up you even more. So it feels like a lot to work with. Don't even get me started on C leader, because it can just pop Kraken.
Yeah, funny thing about C leader. Now that you mention it, what weapon has the exact same kit as C leader? Just
I
now
wonder.
that it has beacons and Kraken. I
Yeah,
feel like I'm putting the dots together, but not too sure.
yeah. Maybe we'll need a little bit more time to ruminate on it here. So let's go into the Sendu page to see maybe an overlook on who made bracket so far, as round 3 is starting to wrap up. Looking in Group A, we're seeing Coral Convergence, as well as I think Subburst, have their eyes set on gold bracket. In Group B, we're seeing Rage Bait and a whole bunch of brain rot, whole bunch of emojis eyeing their way to gold.
Oh,
Yeah.
obviously we got the defeated rose emoji, the X, the rose cross. This is telling me something. I don't know what it means, but it's certainly saying something to me.
So, meanwhile, in Group C, we have Shrimp Fried Rice and, of course, Axolot's Revenge eyeing gold as well. In Group D, having Leading Tower of Gert as well as Sonic Frontiers eyeing gold as well. So as round 3 is starting to finish, I think we'll call it a little bit of a break here, as we will be entering a whole new bracket when we return. So of course, don't go anywhere. Tristrike Tuesdays will be back with more action. Welcome back to Tristrike Tuesday 35. For those just joining stream, I'm Frostix. I'm joined by Ideas, and we've now entered gold brackets. The matches will be hotter, the battles will be more intense, and the team names will be maybe a little bit harder to pronounce. We've got 11-foot 8 Bridge, a reference to a classic can opener down in somewhere in the States. I forgot where it was. And you don't see. Oh, wow. Okay, we don't even see the emojis on stream here, but they are insisting that they be called the Magnificent Rose Team. So that's what we will be calling them.
Just for all our lovely viewers at home who do not have the bracket open, this is Withered Rose X Rose checkmark. That's what we see. But unfortunately, y'all just don't get the privilege of seeing the true Magnificent Rose team in all of their glory, but you will get to see the glory of their gameplay. Just getting up into a little bit with Zones Umami now. Last time we were here, that was something. That was truly an enjoyable match right there. I'm very excited to see what these teams bring out, especially with how this map is so snowbally. We literally saw last time they were in their spawn right where you come down to at the end of that match. So I'm very excited to see what these teams bring to the table.
Surprisingly so, I think what happens a lot on Umami is exactly that. They occupy that they initially take that little choke point area that is right before that silo, and then as soon as they get a lot of their points in, they start moving into spawn, assuming that their weapons are a lot more skirmishing in nature. Of course, we saw that last time we were on Umami Ruins with, I think, Carbon and with Wiper. We're going into it. 11-foot 8 Bridge is sporting that Decavitator. I think I saw Squelchies there as well on 11-foot 8 Bridge. And they have that Dread Ringer for that AoE chip as well as that Cheese Reef Slider. Meanwhile, on the Magnificent Rose team, we're seeing 52 Gal as we're seeing a pretty rudimentary comp on their end with Gal, Splash, Pencil as well as Stamper, some good mid-range weapons all around, which will at least allow them to get that first checkpoint, but not for long as Chibi sliding in with that Reef Slider, getting a pick onto that Gal. That's no lasers here. They're keeping up this paint output very effectively here, and they're trying to up the ante on the aggression as there are now 2 members down. Count make it 3 on the Magnificent Rose team, and already there it is, Ideas. They're starting to move in to their spawn here. We could be seeing a lockout unless I think that this Gal has anything to say about it.
And they're definitely speaking. We saw them get a quick pick there, getting that cooler online, denying them any more points on the zone. As we see, the Zip is out, trying to find another quick pick, just getting a lot of more, wasting a lot of more of their time. Not going to let them get the zone painted just as quickly or anything like that. As we see, they were unfortunately not able to find a pick, but still had that cooler online, able to get in, cause a lot of mischief. As we see them able to find 2 on the right side right there, over pushing 11-foot Bridge down to 3 members, just leaving the dualies by themselves, trying to get out safely as the Magnificent Rose team pushes through, able to take the lead right there, only having to push through about 10 points to take it, and getting their own hold with this incredible pressure. This Pencil trying to find their cooler. The chumps come out, the crabs are fighting each other, both of them trying to get the last pick, and the Magnificent Rose team wins the crab battle, but unfortunately goes down right after that crab ends, but doesn't look like they're upset about it. Able to keep up their pressure and pushing in far, breaking through the dome, wanting to keep this hold for as long as possible. With just only 40 points remaining, we're going to have to see 11-foot Bridge bring out a lot. The slider is coming out. It's trying to find one. Unfortunately, it can't find what it needs to. They're up on the sides fighting, able to find 1 pick, taking down 2 members, leaving just the dualies up there. Now, finally, 11-foot Bridge has been able to break through and get them out of their zone, out of their spawn, and take mid for themselves as they give them a major penalty, stopping them from even getting any more points on the board with 69 right there. You love to see it if you're 11-foot Bridge.
Wow, that was very close to knockout here. The Magnificent Rose team were within that single-digit range. It could have been a knockout for them unless 11-foot 8 Bridge managed to take that zone back, allowing them to get that 69 penalty point. Nice. And now it just depends on if 11-foot 8 Bridge can keep staying in the fight here, as already that decav has gone down. I think this Dreadringer will be going down as well. Actually, the Dreadringer is the last one left here. It's looking like a delayed wipe for 11-foot-8 Bridge, as the Magnificent Rose team are already right back in business here, right back into the fight, taking out that decab as well. It's only Ethereal left on the side of 11-foot-8 Bridge here, but perhaps they are a one-man army here, but actually they're going down. Maybe I'm glazing this gal a little bit too hard here, as 11-foot-8 Bridge is starting to get their members back in mid, trying to at least get a little bit more space in their hands, as they will be taking control and immediately responding by going right to their spawn. Nia has popped the crab, firing off onto this gal, but with that splash ball, it's proving a little bit testy here. The crab armor is starting to shear off, but speaking of being sheared off, their penalty points are now removed. They're starting to count down, canceling Leon's crab before it can even start firing here. I think 11-foot-8 Bridge is trying to find their footing, but with 2 members down, it's looking a little testy. But Nia as well, as I think that Dreadringer are still trying to hold the line for 11-foot-8 Bridge, allowing the jumps to come through. But with these zones going into neutral, and with the Magnificent Rose team starting to trickle their way back into mid, actually, it doesn't look like they're going to be trickling back into mid just yet here, as a reslider will spell a wipeout for 11-foot-8 Bridge, who are now in the Magnificent Rose team spawn.
Yeah, and with this crab up, we're unfortunately going to see the crab going down. The gal once again breaking through, neutralizing that zone just for a little bit longer, as we see the Zip coming out, wanting to just try and paint over this zone, trying to do just a little bit more something. Unfortunately, going down to the dualies over there, as we see the gal just trying to be the one-man army that it can be with that wall, doing everything in its power to keep the zone contested for as long as possible, and just holding, waiting for their team to finally arrive like the heroes they are, able to contest the zone one more time, almost trying to get a control, able to find a flip, giving them a big penalty going into the last 25 seconds here. That's going to put 11-foot Bridge much more into an unfavorable position, making them play the game for what's like a minute longer almost, but they're chipping through the penalty, not wasting any time. The decaf going in, controlling so much space, not wanting its team to get too lonely, jumping back, able to be a little bit more passive. We do see the crab is out. They're trying to find it, able to neutralize that right zone right there, just holding it a little bit longer. All they need is one last zone flip, and with that gal and splash both going in, able to contest that zone, each individually doing all the work they can to absolutely try and hold it, but it doesn't look like 11-foot Bridge is going to make that easy. We seeing the slider come out, holding it just a little bit longer, but not enough, as Magnificent Rose team is able to find the flip and secure the game 1 victory.
Ooh. Wow, okay, that was deadly close for both teams here. They were really, I think we saw 11-foot-8 Bridge finally find their footing. They were able to get to 12 here, but simply because the Magnificent Rose team managed to get so close to knocking out within the early game, it forced 11-foot-8 Bridge to constantly be on that offensive, constantly trying to keep them at bay, when really all that Magnificent Rose team needed to do was just constantly flip it, keep applying those penalty points onto 11-foot-8 Bridge. But the Magnificent Rose team, they just decided to up the ante and just keep them guessing, keep firing back, keep firing shots on them, not allowing them to get enough members to contest that zone into overtime. It's like you said, they had to play the game for at least another minute in order to get all of their penalty points off, and even still you had to get a couple more points to get past 9. So it was a very steep hill to climb for 11-foot-8 Bridge as soon as the Magnificent Rose team managed to get that zone flip and applied those penalty points to them.
Yeah, that was something. We saw so much work going through that gal, just like truly. I felt like, that one Superman image with the light and everything behind him. That's how that play felt when the gal went in, contested that zone all by themselves, just a splash wall in a dream. And it was the play they needed, because that's what gave them that major penalty already, taking, I think it was like 60, 70 points, which is massive whenever you only needed like 2 or 3 more ticks just to take that lead rather. But already just a great game to see. That's what you come for gold bracket for. Groups, you get a little bit of everything, but you come to gold bracket for the just unbelievable plays that both these teams are going to bring out.
Speaking of unbelievable, actually, well, more so believable, as we're going into game 2, which will be once again on TC Museum. And now that I look at the set as a whole, ideas, we've been here before. We've really been here before, huh?
I'm calling me a 70-year-old man because I definitely have dementia. You're gonna have to remind me what this map looks like. I'm sorry.
Oh, well, we have a lot of spinners and a very hard, I think, second checkpoint to break past here. So I think what we saw from that, I think was a groups round 2 set. Uh, what we I think a good thing to take note from that match on TC Museum was to constantly keep the tower within the enemy team's ball court, not allowing it to cruise back into mid. That way, you're constantly on the gas pedal. That way the pressure is always on the defending team, and just allowing your team to constantly keep it moving, even if it is in small increments. Of course, a lot of baby steps equate to something bigger here. I think another thing you probably need to ensure when you're on the offense on Museum TC is ensuring that you at least stay on the field for a while, whether or not that's just playing your team fights correctly or ensuring that you have the means to jump back into it, whether or not that means beacons or more so, more likely tactical there. Just ensuring that your team constantly has numbers advantage against the other would be good when it comes to keeping the pressure on. We're now seeing the Magnificent Rose team switch to S Blast, and I definitely say that's a reasonable pick going into a map with as much, I'd say, ledges and maybe verticality as Museum.
And already we're able to see them getting a quick 2-pick. The Magnificent Rose team, unfortunately, not able to find as many picks as 11-foot bridge, not able to find as many picks as Magnificent Rose was able to. Which you mentioned that S-Blast, I saw them run up, they took the fight, and they just got a quick pick over there. We didn't unfortunately get to see it, but I just know it happened with how fast it was. And already we're seeing them pushing up on this plat, trying to find it. The Dread gonna get that slider out, force them to back up, not gonna let them stay on that tower any longer than they have to. The Zip going around trying to cause some mayhem, able to find a quick trade on the decav right there, coolered up and everything, ready to come back and jump in once more. We're seeing them just all around trying to find that last second, waiting on their team to regroup, and that's such an amazing play. Just waiting and waiting as we see them able to take out 2 more members, pushing up with this crab, already pushing that second check, the problem check rather, and getting right through here. The Booyah is out. Once again, they're all just fighting the decav, trying to make their way through and get them off this tower, but it's not going to be enough as they go down to the pencil, pushing them back even further, one after the other. They're just going down, unfortunately losing 3 members in the process. All the way to the third check, we see the jumps coming in one after the other, breaking through the check, still just riding the tower to the end, taking the quick game 2.
That I don't think they I don't think they lost that tower within that single match. It's like we were saying earlier here, you want to constantly keep that tower within the enemy team's ball court. That way you can drive it all the way up to the hoop. That is the final checkpoint, and the Magnificent Rose team did that in spades here. They just constantly kept the aggression on them. You said that they were really eager to start getting those early picks here. They already had 2 members down, and there's them taking advantage of their numbers that we were also talking about earlier before the match started. So, wow, okay. Very, very textbook from them.
That was definitely by the book. I saw the teacher give them all straight A's for how they played that one out. I'm sure they're going to enjoy that victory. I wasn't even aware of their game. I just saw people dying. I didn't even know how they were dying, what happened. I just saw them disappear. I was truly outstanding. I thought maybe they were fighting Harry Houdini or something, the way they just were gone and able to push through all of those checks. But what an amazing game from Magnificent Rose. I don't know if I'm hoping to see more of them with this name, but I'm definitely excited to see what else they can bring.
Exactly, as they move on further into semifinals to go up, whoever wins against Axolotl's Revenge and Rage Bait here, of course, taking the set 2-0. There is no need to go. Wait, is it? I think now that we're in gold bracket, it's not playoff 3 anymore, right? Yeah, it's not playoff 3.
No, we
anymore.
are doing BO3s.
So yes.
think.
So unfortunately, 11 for an 8 bridge, Renzo Chivi, Omazen, B3, your run of this Tristrike Tuesday has come to an end. But of course, you put up a very solid fight here tonight. So, okay.
We can do this next week, guys. Don't worry, we'll see you again. But we do encourage everybody to show up every week. I don't do it, but you should.
Anyways, we will be right back for semifinals of Gold Bracket after a quick break. So, of course, don't go anywhere. Tristrike Tuesday will be back shortly. Oh,
I've been getting
oh, okay.
thrown into it here. I was just had water in
Wow.
my throat and everything. But
Oh,
all right, we're getting just right into the mess of everything. We have Coral Convergence as well as the Leaning Tower of Gert. We got to see a little bit of what their game was earlier, but I haven't seen anything of Coral Convergence here. But already getting into it, we can see both these teams trying to fight out for that mid, trying to get that first early pick. Leading Tower able to get their cooler online, but not able to take the zone as we see Coral Convergence pushing through them, breaking all the way through zone, unfortunately losing 2 members down as they make that push in, not able to clean it up in forcing their pencil to play on the defensive end as we see all of 3 members just running through, popping that jet, forcing them in, giving them all of this space in their plat to just play with right now as we see them going in, but it isn't enough as they go 2 down, unfortunately. Able to pop that booyah out, rather, giving them a lot more space. Both these teams are just having like a true tug of war with this zone right here. Neither able to get like a really good lead advantage. Just going back and forth already. Oh my.
yeah, exactly here. It's just been non-stop skirmishes here. And while the lead is in control of Coral Convergence right now, we've seen what Leaning Tower of Gert can do here. But it's looking like Coral Convergence is actually managing to quell the storm that we saw earlier from Leaning Tower here. They're already trying to at least take space away from them, trying to make sure that they don't secure their
Yeah,
belt.
they're currently putting down the ropes, trying to make sure this tower does not fall over, knocking them out one after the other, but it is not enough. They're going to break through, getting a nice double right there, able to keep them going, denying them their cooler, not going to let them get any more pencil, but the Zelka is out, trying to find one. Unfortunately, only able to find one on that wiper right there. Not going to let them get too greedy as we see them just trying to push through, breaking in once more. Leaning Tower absolutely holding on to this, not wanting to give up any more ground than they already have. Wanting to make sure they, at the bare minimum, can get this lead as we just see them trade right there. Both teams having their cooler online, just looking for that last minute pick they need to break through with only a couple points remaining for Leaning Tower right here. Able to find a nice lead before having to get contested on that zone. Able to clean it up very quickly though, keeping them in the hots, keeping them in the driver's seat as they find a nice double, just going in, not going to let them get it at all. As we see them take it all the way down to the single digits, just trying to keep them off one after the other. The pencil pushing and doing as much as they can, but it is not enough as Leaning Tower gets that zone once more and takes our game 1.
Wow, that was extremely fast once again here. Well, considering this is of course Hagglefish zones, it's definitely a match. It's definitely going to be a match in which a lot more fighting will happen here. And with a team like Leaning Tower of Gert, we've seen the explosive pressure that they're capable of bringing out here onto our Seed 1 team, Coral Convergence here. Of course, for those just joining the stream, I'm Frostix, joined by Ideas. We are now within semifinals of Tristrike Tuesdays 35 here, and we have now entered best of 5 sets. Remember when I said that the sets will be more heated? This is what I meant, as now the sets are also longer here. No longer will it be taking the second game in order to win, it's taking potentially 3 games in a row, and already Leaning Tower of Gert has one of those games on their belt here. So we're going into game 2, another map that we were just on before. This is going to be on Undertow Spillway. Now, actually, okay, my memory is really faulty here. I'm not. Did we see Leaning Tower of Gert on Undertow Spillway, TC?
Like I said, I have dementia. You know, for anybody who's remembering, this is my recurring bit for the night. I have dementia. I do not remember, but I know for a fact we saw Tower Undertow, and we just saw this team they were playing, and they were so aggressive, but they just that second check was like the hardest thing for them to break through. So that's kind of what my memory is. But then again, you know, the dementia's getting to me, the old age and everything.
Uh, well, hopefully this upcoming match will snap you back to your senses on what is important on Undertow Spillway. That's actually a good question because I honestly don't even remember. Maybe I have dementia as well here. So of course, I think one thing that I think we knew a lot about Undertow was the amount of verticality that it has. So it allows, of course, buckets and blasters to play very well on it. We saw it, I think, in a past set with a Tri-Slosher. I think Coral Convergence was sporting on S-Blast, and it's a really valid blaster pick to play. It has a lot of chip damage, a lot of area control with that Booyah Bomb, and of course just the amount of use, like, what was it? The amount of versatility that it has with its range switching gimmick. So that's definitely something that I can see Coral Convergence staying with going in to this set. I think outside of that, I think we've seen that Leaning Tower of Gert was just very willing to stick with their guns no matter the mode. So I think we're probably going to see the same thing from them. Probably the same thing on Coral Convergence. Already, I lied. I lied, actually, because we're seeing this time on Coral Convergence Forge Pro and Luna Neo. So we're still seeing Blaster from them, but in a different form, in the form of Luna. So they're going to have that Ultra Stamp that could prove a little bit useful, considering that, considering, of course, the ever so useful Hammer Throw. But already, Coral Convergence is starting to find their footing again, taking 2 members down of Leaning Tower of Gert. But it's just the beginning of Haggle Zones. It's just a constant back and forth, a tug of war, just to see who can dwindle down the opposing team faster here. And we're seeing Coral Convergence on this tower, at least vying to get to that second checkpoint here.
In getting to that second checkpoint, they're going to do is they find a nice double. The Zuka putting in so much work right there, able to deny that hammer. The pencil going around, wanting to get a quick deny on that, but it's not enough as we see the Carbon able to stop that hammer from doing anything. The pencil forcing them to retreat, able to get the quick pick on them and giving Leaning Tower the ability to control the game just a little bit longer, popping that Zuka, not going to let them drop, don't want to give them any more ground than they already have, as we see them going in, the hammer out once more, destroying the Booyah before going down to the other hammer from Coral Convergence. Just running around. That shot is absolutely trying their best to hold them off for as long as possible. The one-man army is going in, dying to that jet right there, but doing just enough stall to keep them off that tower, allowing their team to regroup once more. Going in, we're seeing the Forge and the Neo just, or rather the Luna, just going in and absolutely taking house, not going to let anybody stay longer than they have to, as we see them get cleaned up and they're coolered, already pushing back into this aggressive spot that we saw them going for earlier. But the Carbon will not make it easy. Neither will the hammer. Oh, just playing in perfect unison right there.
Yeah, don't doubt that frontline duo that Leaning Tower of Gert has. That Carbon and that Wiper make clean work of enemy backlines here. Already, Lafiche is going to be able to take out Sam here, which will allow Leaning Tower of Gert to get that first checkpoint. That's points on the board for them, but they need to watch out for that Booyah Bomb from that Forge, and that Forge is starting to put up some more numbers here, as that is a wipeout for Coral Convergence here, stopping them right before they could get out of that second checkpoint here. And right now, they're already right back, poised to get a lot more picks. They're able to get rid of that Carbon first here, but right before that, Luna will be going down to that Rapid here. There's 2 members down on Coral Convergence, though, here. Leaning Tower of Gert is trying to strike back. Here comes a hammer that has been cancelled for Coral Convergence. This jet is firing on to the mid side of Coral Convergence, as Leaning Tower of Gert is right back into the driver's seat and is starting to get that tower moving right back into. Hopefully they can get past that second checkpoint here, because they were stopped earlier before they could make it out. And already that Rapid, oh, the Wiper will go down here, but there's 2 members down on Coral Convergence. Actually, I think Leaning Tower of Gert will be able to get past that second checkpoint here, get a little bit more points on the board here. They're very close to taking back this lead. They will be able to take back this lead. There's 2 members down on both teams, but with 1 more member down on Coral Convergence, and with a delayed wipe, I think, to their name, Leaning Tower of Gert is poised to start moving in. They're deadly close to knocking out. There's 2 members down on Coral Convergence here. There's 1 minute left on the clock, and with this Wiper dancing around the tower, I think that's Leaning Tower of Gert taking game 2.
Yep, that is exactly what just happened. And, you know, maybe the name is a little bit of their power. We saw them just absolutely going in, able to find those trades they needed, able to find those picks, and that delayed wipe at the end just doing so much for them, giving them the ability to break through that check and just force those last few seconds, or last few ticks rather, they needed to KO. Just watching that tower sit there on 0, I was in disbelief. I was like, I have no idea what is supposed to happen next year. There's nobody's on it. I saw both these teams, they're trading on top of the tower. I had no idea who could consider. And seeing Leaning the Tower able to take that game into their victory is really big going into the game 3. They only need 1 more. They're up 2. They're playing hot. You know, Coral Convergence here, you're on the hot seat. You can't afford to lose any more of these games, but it is still anybody's set.
Could be anybody's set, especially if Coral Convergence takes back Robo Ramen zones. Here's the thing, though. we've seen leading tower of Gert on zones before, and they are very they mean business here. What we saw from them literally in the first match of this stream was that as soon as they start taking control of zone, they move up elbow and start balling in your court, and next thing you know, there are a bunch of flies in your food and you can't get them out, and once you can't get them out of your spawn, you are locked out. So let's see what we have in store here. Once again, leading tower of Gert is sticking with their guns, and Coral Convergence is going to be a little bit more versatile this time around, switching to 96 Deco. So we have some more. So we have Kraken. I think we also have. I'm not sure if Sam was on shot earlier, but we are seeing the hero shot, which of course is just the normal splatter shot with a cool design on it. We'll just have to see if this new comp will at least keep them alive for one more game.
And it looks like that new comp is doing work here. Both these teams are absolutely just fighting, trying to find that last pick. Both teams, unfortunately, going down one member, but having Cooler online. We see the Zuka coming out, unable to find a pick, but the Kraken able to get one more, just leading that little bit more that Coral Convergence needed and are able to find in order to secure their lead right here, getting already into the stronghold. This is the elbow that you want to have control over, that we saw Leaning Tower earlier just able to control so well, but it doesn't look like they're going to give the same luxury to Coral Convergence as we see that Jet and Hammer both coming out, able to clean up everybody one by one, getting that delayed wipe right there. Not going to let any of them survive, but the Pencil getting their cooler online and jumping back for their teammates to all have that cooler up and running, trying not to lose it and able to hold it for as long as they can, clearing out Leaning Tower one by one, taking them 2 down, just wanting to find that last member, getting that zone. One more, the Kraken able to find a nice little jump on them, going in for the Pencil and able to find the pick, securing them all of that elbow space that they need to hold onto and try and break through this lead here with only a couple points in their penalty. They can really just hold on for as long as possible, not going to let them get these specials that they need, this Jet, this cooler, this Hammer, denying them this ability to push back through, and we're seeing them do it as they take the lead and just keep it running.
Uh-oh, wait. We're seeing that deadly combo again, the dynamic duo of the Ultra Stamp and the Inkjet heralding a counter push from Leaning Tower of Gert here. The soda is up for Tower as well here, as they will be able to flip the zone. That's 40 more penalty points going to Coral Convergence here. We'll just have to see if they can up the ante on the hold once again. They did manage to at least take 3 members down of Coral Convergence here. That Booyah Bomb is being charged here. That'll at least give Coral Convergence a little bit more staying power. That being said, Leaning Tower is out of their penalty points. They're going to start counting down. And with the lead... Whoa, was that a disconnect? Uh-oh.
That definitely was a disconnect. If you're Coral Convergence, you absolutely hate to see that. With how far we've seen Leaning Tower of Gert go, they're just absolutely running it down, taking the lead, not going to back up at all. They know that they have a permanent player's advantage, and they're doing the most with it, able to get a nice wipeout on them, and just absolutely running it down. And the worst part of all is they have lost their cooler. That is the most detrimental player they could have lost here. That is the thing you hate to see the most. It is just absolutely over for their game the second that DC happened. Oh.
Okay, yeah, it's like you've been saying, you really hate to see it here. Even still, as soon as they got that counter push though, Leaning Tower of Gert were still very poised to start fighting even when that Pencil was still in the game. They were starting to at least go right back into elbow, do exactly what Coral Convergence did to them. But as soon as that disconnect happened, I think everything just started going downhill. It's like you said, permanent players disadvantage and a permanent lack of soda for the rest of the game is going to hurt for our #1 seed, as Leaning Tower of Gert will take the set in a surprising upset, punching their ticket to final.
Already here, just I cannot wait to see what our finals is. I believe it is either going to be I believe it's either going to be the Magnificent Rose team coming back once more despite us with the team name, or Rage Bait. I'm not too sure what's going on in that set, but I'm quite interested to see. I wish I could just get a look, but unfortunately I cannot. I do think though we're gonna have a short break while we wait on finals to start up. Alrighty.
Definitely so. So, of course, don't go anywhere. Tristrike Tuesday 35 will reach its conclusion shortly, so don't go anywhere. Finals are nigh. Welcome back to Tristrike Tuesday 35. We have entered gold bracket finals. I'm Frostix. I'm joined by Ideas. Man, okay, I think my words are starting to slip past me because we're now gonna see. We're seeing the last two teams in gold bracket face off in gold bracket finals. We've seen both of these teams before on stream, Leaning Tower of Gert with a very fast-paced front line consisting of that Wiper and Carbon and flanked by that rapid Blaster Gecko. But meanwhile, the Magnificent Rose team playing those commonly seen mid-range weapons with a lot of mastery to them. So we'll just have to see how those two team comps collide. As we see, our first map in the set will be Zones on Mahi Mahi.
I think Zones Mahi Mahi might be our first true brand new map mode combination for bracket so far. I don't think we've seen it at all today, which I'm very excited for. And then I saw it was Mahi Mahi, and I was like, oh, I'm less excited because, you know, this map is just, it takes a minute to get going, but we're going to get into the match already. Both these teams bringing out what we have seen from them before, with Leaning Tower bringing out that devious Wiper and Carbon combination, able to do so much together, as well as Majestic Rose bringing out, as you mentioned, their strong midline weapons, just already doing so much work as they're able to contest the zone, able to get a quick pick 2 down for them on the side of Leaning Tower as they control the zone, getting their cooler online and in position for them to just go in. Going in they are, as we can see them, the Dread just going in deep, able to find a quick pick, trying to get something off on this pencil and able to find it by the sword. Very well done. Just such a tight shot as they go in and just hold in the little bit of the map we have opening up now, giving Leaning Tower just more position and more room to regroup and play around, especially more paint so they can get their specials online, like that hammer, like that Zuka that we're seeing going in and putting in work, able to find a triple, trying to make it a quad, unable to do so as we see Leaning Tower Gert take back the game with only 33 on the board for the Magnificent Rose team.
So that being said, though, they were able to dodge around those crucial specials that the Magnificent Rose team has here. That being said, though, speaking of the Rose team, they're right back in the driver's seat. They're already right back in control of the zone. That Carbon was trying to get that Gal off of their backs, but with the amount of bait Gal has, it's able to shut down that Carbon here. There's 2 members down on Leaning Tower once more here. We're seeing Ronin on that Rapid being shut down by the Dreadringer Leon here. Of course, Dreadringer's really good. Like, Dreadringer, I think, as well as that Rapid Blaster on both teams are going to play well here, because now that the water level is down, everything here is one-way drops, so you need to, of course, be careful because the Magnificent Rose team are now in the 10s, getting very close to the single digits. The Zuka is coming out. Same thing with the hammer. They've got to pick onto the Dreadringer. That's definitely something that you want, considering that it had a Reef Slider, and now Leaning Tower of Gert has flipped the zone once more, applying 57 penalty points to the Magnificent Rose team here. They're right back into the driver's seat as their penalty points have been expended, and now they're starting to cheese out the ledges just as the Magnificent Rose team did to them.
Yeah, they're absolutely doing the same textbook. Hold them off to make them drop into us. We're going to get our cooler. We're going to get our specials. Don't give them anything as we see them finding a nice double over there. Not going to give them the opportunity to go in as we see the cheeky little pencil trying to get up there. But the gal says, no, that's not yours to own. We're going to keep you out. But does unfortunately go down as they break through their penalty. Trying to get just a few more points on the board. Trading with the sword right there. And losing the zone to the slider. You love to see the zone cheese right there, giving them a big penalty to chew through. As we see all of their members unfortunately stagger out one by one, giving the Magnificent Rose team another chance to just do this textbook holding, make them drop into us, play that we're seeing just work out so well. And already the Jet is coming out, able to get a nice little pick right before popping it, forcing them back, finding the second one, wanting to get a third, giving their team the opportunity to get back in, not going to let the Magnificent Rose team just do it so simply. They're going to make them work for it, and working for it they absolutely are. Both these teams are fighting with each other, just trying to find that last second edge they need.
Yeah, definitely so here. Already, Leaning Tower of Gert is trying to work their way through their penalty points. They're in the tens of their penalty points now. They need to make sure that that Dreadringer cannot get onto the zone because they have the Reef Slider. Here comes Leon, and now accompanied by that Zipcaster that'll allow the Magnificent Rose team to flip it once more right before Leaning Tower of Gert can start counting down here. That's what they do best. Put enemy teams into the panic state. We saw them do that to Coral Convergence. We're seeing them do it again to Leaning Tower of Gert here, and they're going right back into cheesing those ledges. That being said, they are down one pencil. That could be no soda for the next who knows how long here. Leon's being forced to jump back here. Zone has gone into neutral here. There's 1 minute left on the clock here, but Leon almost has another re-slider ready to go here. Meanwhile, in terms of specials on the Leaning Tower of Gert, we have the Ultra Stamp being popped by this Wiper. Zone has gone into neutral once more here. That being said, the Stamper's going down. There's 2 members down on the Magnificent Rose team. The Leaning Tower of Gert needs to start upping the ante, especially considering Leon has the slider once more, capping the zone for the team in blue. There's 30 seconds left here, and now with Leaning Tower of Gert back in control, they can't afford to back down any moment now. Starfish will drop the cooler here. Zone is right back into neutral here. Zone is in control of Leaning Tower of Gert. They need to watch these drops, make sure that these priority targets like the pencil as well as the Dreadringer are promptly dealt with. That way there's no way they could have any more staying power. Leaning Tower of Gert are almost out of their penalty points though. They'll have to make this push work into overtime if they want to take this game. Zone has gone into neutral here. Here comes the slider from Leon, and that will put the zone into neutral and allow the Magnificent Rose team to cinch out game 1.
That is the definition of zone cheese if I have ever seen it. The slider absolutely putting in work. I think all of those sliders were just perfect, taking control of the zone, giving them that last second flip. And as we saw, like going into overtime, if I'm Leon right there, I'm thinking, I have my slider. Let me play back. Let me play safe. And that's absolutely what they did. And we saw Leaning Tower of Gert doing everything in their power, but just not able to find that last second pick they needed to snuff out those last few points. Because that zone cheese, man, it is dangerously scary how much paint it puts out. It really doesn't look like that much, but it will take your zone if even for a second. And that's all they needed to do right there to secure that game 1 victory.
And it's like I said here, the Magnificent Rose team is really good at establishing a very strong early lead and forcing that other team to simply just step up to their level, constantly try to take it back when really all the Magnificent Rose team needs to do is just cap it again, and that's just what Leon does in spades with that reef slide. But not just that, of course, amplified by the amount of long-range pressure that the Magnificent Rose team has with that pencil, with the Gals Killer Whale, with the Splatana Stamper here, just making sure that they can take fights at any angle, at any range that they desire for this.
Oh no, they are taking they are taking some demon angles. I'm talking like prime King Von angles. I saw the Stamper hit a shot I didn't know was possible from that spot. Like I was just blown away from how they're positioning. Getting into this next game here, I'm seeing the S-Blast come out for the Magnificent Rose team. We saw it work out for them before. I think it's going to work out once more. The Wiper going in, trying to find a quick pick, wanting to do something. Unfortunately, 3 members of the Leaning Tower Gert do unfortunately going down, giving the Magnificent Rose team the ability to push up. And already we can see them going into the plats. They're already up there trying to fight. The Crab is out. They haven't even broken through this first checkpoint yet, and they're already controlling so much space up there, trying to keep it under wraps for as long as possible. Just fighting the sword back here, trying to make sure that nothing sneaky is going to happen behind them as we see them just keep contesting over and over. Unfortunately, no one in that zone, but is single-handedly held off by the S-Blast, able to find make it a triple into the wipeout right there as they get into the second check already, not even a minute through, and they're just coming out swinging. They want to take this game. They said, dinner's ready, I gotta go. They're pushing through it, absolutely making sure Leaning Tower of Gert has to work and put them on the defensive end here, taking it all the way down to the third checkpoint and still running in, even 2 members down. They do not care. They're going to keep on pushing until the delayed wipe hits them and forces them to be on the defensive side here.
Wow. So once again, Magnificent Rose team setting a very strong early lead here. Leaning Tower of Gert has work to do. They need to beat 15 in order to get that lead back here. And that was already past 2 checkpoints. And with 2 members down, it's already proving a little bit testy. It's only that Carbon and that Viper left. The Viper's going down too. It's only that Carbon left on the side of leading Tower of Gert because the Magnificent Rose team is right back in the driver's seat here, already getting rid of that Carbon Roller. They have the Booyah Bomb at least ready to displace anyone, to at least clear out the way for bats. That way they can take more space on them. They're trying to get some more chip damage onto that blaster, as well as the pencil here. That Zipcaster is diving down bats. Definitely a good play here. That being said, Magnificent Rose team is two members down here. Their numbers are starting to dwindle. They're not up. Their numbers advantage that they've consistently been trying to press isn't really working for them right now, as the leading Tower of Gert is starting to at least find their footing in their defense here. Now they need to start finding their footing in terms of their offense here. And we haven't seen them on offense so far, simply because the Magnificent Rose team just did not allow them to get any moments onto tower. But we're seeing them do that now here. They're going past that first checkpoint. Now they need to find a way to at least storm bats effectively, make sure that space is being taken away from the Magnificent Rose team to the best of their ability here. And they will be able to get a pick at least onto the Stamper. That's a good start. I think the jet is coming out from Ronin. They're being fired on from all angles. Ethereal being able to take them out for good. And now the Magnificent Rose team is right back on that tower, cruising it back into mid. Their push is over.
Already, yeah, they didn't even let them break through that second check. Like, they just absolutely stopped them, did not give them any control over the bats. And, you know, something important I think to mention is they did that basically without using any of their true displacement specials. They didn't need to pop a Booyah, they didn't need to pop a Crab or anything. They just ran in there and forced them out with pure hands alone. And that's something that you just cannot see from every team already. But leading Tower of Gert not going to let it out, popping their hammer, trying to force their ways through, wanting to break in, able to get a quick pick on their sword, keeping them down just a little bit longer, trying to find that last, squishing down all of these members one after the other, and able to take down 2 members, forcing them onto a little bit more of a favorable position, but still needing to get into bats here. We see them going in, able to clear it out, take it for themselves. The Zuka is alive, ready to get a quick pick. Unfortunately, going down to the S-Blast right there, and losing 3 members on that push when this the tower rather hasn't even made it all the way to that second check is a really unfortunate thing you hate to see if you are the leading Tower of Gert, because that just loses all of your momentum, as we are seeing the Magnificent Rose team just running in once more, absolutely trying to run it down, not going to give anybody the safety of the tower. And they're just true fighting left and right with only 45 seconds left, and still pushing the tower. They don't even have to. They can just hold in the back, get all of their specials ready, able to stop that little jump, deny them their cooler, which is going to be very big for installing out the game right here.
Exactly. There's 30 seconds left on the clock for leading Tower of Gert to potentially take this back. Once again, the Magnificent Rose team putting them within panic mode. They need to make this final push work, or else it will be the end for them in game 2. Right now, we're seeing Trunks storm bats trying to get some picks onto their belt. No, they're going down. Same thing with the Carbon. The frontline duo is gone. Same thing with both the Pencil and the Rapid here. And with 5 seconds left on the clock, and with every member from leading Tower of Gert just barely making it back into mid, the Magnificent Rose team will be taking game 2. And that puts the leading Tower of Gert at match point.
Alrighty, yeah, that we were only a minute into the game. They took it all the way down to the third check, hitting them with that 15, and just absolutely kept up so much aggression. I thought they were trying to go for the KO the whole time. They didn't ever let up and let them breathe. They were just constantly on their necks, wanting to stop them from even having the concept of an aggressive push-up.
Definitely so. It's like, once again, like, as soon as that game started, they just responded with so much aggression and so much pressure. They managed to get 15 points on the belt, and I don't even think they pushed the tower any bit more after that. They were just really committed to just stopping leading Tower of Gert from advancing any bit further. They did at least get past that first checkpoint, getting closer to that second checkpoint, but then at that point, because their numbers were already starting to dwindle from a counter push from the Magnificent Rose team, leading Tower of Gert just didn't have enough resources to continue any bit past that second checkpoint. And really what you need in past that second checkpoint in TC Inkblot is space and numbers, and that just was not on their side here. So we're going into potentially the final game of this tournament as a whole. Crab Leg Capital Splat Zones. We're entering Great City, as I like to call it. And once again, Magnificent Rose team all are in the hot seat right now. They do have one more game to go. If they take this game, they will win Tristrike Tuesday 35. Leading Tower of Gert need to take this back.
Yeah, that's something you absolutely just hate to be on the receiving end of a Game 3 final sweep. But only thing worse feeling than that is being on the end of the reversed finals sweep that Leaning Tower of Gert has the opportunity to pull out and secure the victory here. It is never anybody's game, you know. With that first Mahi game, it did feel like anybody's game. It was a lot more tossy-turny, and I think Leaning Tower of Gert, as we've noticed, they've played their zone games to a much higher like level of efficiency, you know. High degree, yes, that's a very good way to put that.
Yeah,
So compared to their tower matches, you know, that might be their defining factor, what they need, the nail in the coffin, if you will, for what they need to get them back into this set and take the Game 3. Already seeing the gal once again coming back out as we see our tried and true Leaning Tower Gert comp running through already. Both those teams trying to find their cheeky picks, sending their rats under those bats. The Carbon able to run through and find a pick as we see two members of the side of Magnificent Rose go down. The Carbon able to find a quick dart into the wipeout as they secure the opening game push and just start taking a lot of space. We're seeing that Carbon controlling that drop, not going to give anybody any space to live down there, as they're just going through, wanting to stop any of the further pushes. But we have to be wary of the slider coming out, securing a quick KO on the fish, getting a nice double before trading out. Hammer does come out, wanting to keep the zone under wraps, not going to let them get any form of taking over it. Taking out two with the throw on the return of the zip. What a throw. That was absolutely one of the best Hammer throws I've ever seen. And already a minute into it, they are taking it all the way down to 35, not letting them push back through at all, just getting these picks left and right, keeping them on the end. The 52 able to find or 96 rather, able to find a nice pick. The Kraken does come out, able to paint this zone, wanting to do whatever it can to secure with only 10 seconds remaining off of this first push. Magnificent Rose has to do everything in their power to try and paint, but they can do it and get the zone flip in the last final seconds, leaving them in the game, not going to give it up so easily.
Definitely what the Magnificent Rose team needed to do right now. Leading Tower of Gert was one pick away from getting that knockout, but right now, leading Tower of Gert in a very comfortable position right now. They need to do what the Magnificent Rose team have been doing to them. They just need to constantly keep them in check. They need to just constantly get the retakes, keep their penalty points at a constant high. They just need to it's a game of constants right now, keeping up constant pressure, keeping them in constant check here. And now that they're all juiced up, they need to start constantly getting that pressure onto them. Already, Lafiche is moving in, getting rid of Leon, getting some flicks before going down to Muffin Snipe Raider. And already, the Magnificent Rose team is halfway through their own points here. And I'm not sure if anyone from Leading Tower of Gert is there to respond right now, as we already see that Stamper dealing work to Leading Tower of Gert spawn. They're already within the 10s. There's two members down on both teams though. Leon has the slider. Their cheese is ready to rip here. Leading Tower of Gert needs to respond fast. They're in a similar situation to they were. Oh! Ideas. We just saw both teams get close to the knockout, but only one team could fulfill that knockout today, and that team is the Magnificent Rose team with a Rose X, actual Rose checkmark. They, with the third knockout, will take Tristrike Tuesdays 35.
What just outstanding gameplay. I think I'm gonna get a noise complaint from just how exciting that last second was. I'm literally not even in my chair no more, not on the edge of my seat. I've fallen out with how intense that got. Just both these teams going down to one at the very last second was so incredible to watch. And just, you know, we have to give our fair credit to Leaning Tower of Gert. They put it out just an outstanding, amazing game. And just utterly, like, I am struggling to find the words to describe, you know, because it's just so exciting having seen something like that. It's hard to even put into words how to describe it.
Yeah, exactly so, man. both teams both had their means of applying pressure here. But I think leading Tower of Gert's main way of applying pressure, just with sending those rats, of course the Carbon and the Wiper to deal, just run amok. It also requires them to have a good amount of space with the amount of paint that of course the pencil can provide. Even still, the Magnificent Rose team has means of just dealing with those frontline aggressors at a range and also keep up the paint here. And of course, they have the cheese. While yes, leading Tower of Gert was just your rudimentary burger, the Magnificent Rose team was a cheeseburger.
Yeah, you can't forget the cheese. I believe it was Leon. I'm gonna be avoiding you. I know you got the cheese touch on you. Not gonna be pulling up to you, but a good massive credit to you for how well you played with that slider and everything, and an insanely massive credit to the Magnificent Rose team, rather Withered Rose X Rose check for securing the dub here.
Wow, man, what a tournament! What a weekly!
Truly, this is this is definitely one of my top 3 weeklies. It might be number one. I can't say that for sure because I need to say it for when I'm my other weeklies. They're my number one, also my top 3. But this one's up there for me, and it's because of moments like this, and
Yeah,
that's why you show up to Tristrike Tuesday every Tuesday.
every Tuesday, of course, of course. Ammonites will be back with more Try Strike Tuesday next week, Tuesday, like Ideas said. So, of course, sign up when it goes live. But I think it's time to start wrapping things up, Ideas. I think maybe before we go, time for a little bit of a plug, if you will. Perhaps could you plug yourself to the chat if the good people of Twitch chat want to find you?
Of course, if anybody in the Twitch chat would love to find me, you can find me on the best social media. You heard it from me. You can quote me, Blue Sky. It's so happy, so joyous. I love being over there. That's where I mainly hang out. You can also find me on Discord. Both my names are like Out of Ideas EXE. It's a computer joke, not like the .exe stuff. Please do not send me Sonic.exe. I will be upset. But Frostix, where can I find you at?
Oh, of course. You can also find me at Blue Sky, FrostixBlueSky.social. If you want to go to the other Blue Sky-like site, you can find me on Twitter at TK_Frostix. And yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's all for me.
Of course, we cannot leave without saying a massive shout out to our lovely TOs and our lovely caster for doing all this work so that we can just come out here and yap, of course.
And of course, shout out Green for keeping the stream alive for this entire set. And of course, everyone on Ammonites for keeping the tournament very solid all throughout every single Tuesday. So that'll be it from me and Ideas from Ammonites. We'll be seeing you guys next Tuesday for more. But we've got more coming soon, but that's from us. Oh god, okay.
Yeah, like next week, yeah.
Next week, yeah. These scenes are so fast, I'm like, I can't keep up with them.
Don't worry.